जय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजाथां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामो 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 हरे हरे। Thank you very much everybody for coming for the special Sunday Feast program this evening. We are celebrating the appearance day of Lord Balram today. Krishna tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that one who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take birth again, but returns to my eternal abode, O Partha. So, when I first heard that verse, it became clear that there was more to understanding the transcendental nature of the appearance and activities of the Lord. Knowing the story is one thing, but understanding the transcendental message behind it needs us to go a little bit more deeper. So it is with that mood that we will discuss the pastimes of Lord Balram today. So you'll see that in this slideshow I have different color backgrounds because I was going to experiment that which looks the best. So in the next slideshow I'll probably have improved. Clearly dark blue doesn't work. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, Text 12. Shri Garga Uvacha Ayam hi Rohini Putro Ramayan Suhrudo Gunaha Akhyasyate Rama iti Baladhikyad Balam Vidhu Yadu Nam Aprathak Bhavat Sankarshnam Ushanti Api. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Garga Muni said, "This child, the son of Rohini, will give all happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he will be known as Rama. And because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be known as Bala. Moreover, because he unites two families, Vasudev's family and the family of Nanda Maharaj, he will be known as Sankarshana." So this text from Srimad Bhagavatam is the text where Garga Muni had come to Vrindavan and he performed a name giving ceremony for Krishna and Balram. So as is explained here in this translation, that Lord Balram is the putra of Rohini, and Rohini, after Vasudev had been imprisoned by Kamsa, she was staying under the care of Nand Maharaj and Yashoda Mai in Vrindavan. So Mother Rohini, who is the eternal mother of Lord Balram, she gave birth to Lord Balram appeared as her son, and Krishna had appeared in the prison as the son of Devaki, but was then transported to Vrindavan by Vasudev. This translation is explaining the naming, the meaning of Lord Balram's name. Bala means strength, and Ram means one who gives happiness or pleasure. So Balram means one who's going to give happiness to others by the display of transcendental qualities, and he will also display great strength, feats showing great prowess or power. And because he unites the family of Vasudev and Nanda, he is also known as Sankarshna. Sankarshna comes from the word akarshan, which means to attract or to pull. And Lord Balram, he had appeared as the 7th pregnancy of Mother Devaki, but then under the instructions of Krishna, Yogamaya transferred him from the womb of Mother Devaki to the womb of Rohini, and for that reason also he is called Sankarshna, means one who was pulled into the womb of Rohini. So we'll read the purport. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Baladev was actually the son of Devaki, but he was transferred from Devaki's womb to that of Rohini. This fact was not disclosed. According to a statement in the Harivamsa, Pratyuvacha tato ramaha sarvam stan abhitaha sthithan yad aves api survesu bhavannato mama vallabhaha. Garg Muni did disclose to Nand Maharaj that Balram would be known as Sankarshna because of uniting two families, the Yadu Vamsa and the Vamsa of Nand Maharaj, one of which was known as Kshatriya and the other as Vaishya. Both families had the same original forefather, the only difference being that Nand Maharaj was born of a Vaishya wife, whereas Vasudev was born of a Kshatriya wife. Later, Nand Maharaj married a Vaishya wife and Vasudev married a Kshatriya wife. So although the families of Nand Maharaj and Vasudev both came from the same father, they were divided as Kshatriya and Vaishya. Now Baladev united them, and therefore he was known as Sankarshana. Who is Lord Balram? Lord Balram is the first or the primary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. He appeared as his older brother. When the Lord comes in his original form as Krishna, his first expansion appears as his older brother as Lord Balram. When Lord came in Treta Yuga as Lord Ram, that time Lord Balram had appeared as Lakshmana. And when the Lord came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga, that time Lord Balram appeared as Lord Nityanand. But today, because it's the appearance day of Lord Balram, we will focus more on the pastimes of Lord Balram. So he is the first and the primary expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna and appears as his older brother. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Balram is the original and the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. Servitor Godhead means that he appears to serve. The Krishna has only one business: to enjoy. I was listening to a class by Sachinandan Maharaj many years ago, and he said that you will never see Krishna dressed up in denim overalls with the toolkit, because his business is to enjoy. if you see a kid, I'm not talking about the time when Janvi is practicing piano, but I don't know if you've seen, sometimes, musicians like Amit Thakkar Prabhu, didn't mean to put you on a spot, Prabhuji, but they'll be sitting with their instrument, harmonium, and chanting. They're in their own world and they're having a really nice time. Correct, Amit Prabhu? That's correct, right? So what is it? It's like them having a good time. What is Krishna's instrument? Flute. So his business is to have fun, to enjoy. Like one time a reporter asked Srila Prabhupada that why did Krishna create this material world? And Srila Prabhupada replied, for enjoyment, but not yours, his. Krishna's purpose is to enjoy. He is Rasaraj. Lord Krishna, he appears or expands as Lord Balram, and Lord Balram's purpose is to serve Shri Krishna. And he serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas. The Shant Ras, he expands. Lord Balram becomes the Dham. Golok Vrindavan Dham is an expansion of the energy of Lord Balram. He expands or he becomes shoes of Krishna, the crown of Krishna. The Pitambari golden colored dhoti that Krishna wears is also an energy of Lord Balram. He becomes Krishna's flute. And he becomes Krishna's jewelry. He becomes Krishna's bed. Ananta Sesha is actually Lord Balram. So he serves the Lord in neutrality or in Shantaras as the paraphernalia and the dham of the Lord. The next rasa is the Dasya rasa. So when Krishna and Gopa friends and Balram are all playing and Krishna gets tired, then Lord Balram fans Krishna, or he massages Krishna's feet, or he massages Krishna's head. That is serving Krishna in the Dasya mood. The next rasa or the mood is that of Sakhya. So Krishna and Balram will go out herding cows together, herding calves together, they will wrestle with each other, they'll go on the butter stealing pastimes together. So they are friends, they are good friends. And that is the service in Sakhya mood. And then the next is the Vatsalya or the parental mood. Balram is the older brother, right? And those who are older brothers or sisters, sometimes you become protective, right, of the younger one, or who are the younger siblings would know that the older one many times takes the role of a parent or becomes protective. The time when Krishna ate mud, that time actually Lord Balram went and told on him to Mother Yashoda that Krishna ate dirt. And Krishna, and sometimes he'll say, Krishna, it's your birthday today, so you cannot go out and play in the mud with your friends. You have to stay home. So Lord Balram, he takes that role of a parent. And the last or the highest rasa is that of Madhurya rasa, conjugal love. Shrimati Radharani is Krishna's eternal consort. And Lord Balram appeared at Krishna's older brother. So, it's going to be an uncomfortable situation if you're trying to have a nice pastime and the older brother is hanging around. So he understands that. And in an attempt to not embarrass Srimati Radharani or Krishna, Lord Balram appears as Anang Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. So he's extremely intelligent that way. He knows that if he wants to serve Krishna and Srimati Radharani in Madhurya Ras, then he has to take another form. So Anang Manjari, who is Srimati Radharani's younger sister and very close and confidential servant in their Madhurya Leela pastimes, is actually an expansion of Lord Balaram. So Lord Balram is also the source of all incarnations. As I had mentioned earlier, he is the first expansion or the primary expansion of Lord Krishna. The primary Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshna, Anirudh and Pradyumna, they come from Lord Balram. The Lord of Vaikuntha, Narayan, he comes from this primary Chaturvyuha. The Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Karunadakshaya Vishnu, they also come from Lord Balram. And Sankarshna, who is the source of Rudra and Lord Shiva, he also comes from Lord Balram. Anantasesha is also an expansion of Lord Balram. He is holding all the universes on his hoods. So he is the sustenance or the source, the sustenance of the entire universe and the source of all other expansions. Even the Leela avatars, the Matsya avatar, Varaha avatar, Narsimha avatar, Lord Ram, all of them come from Balaram. So he is the source of all the incarnations. And his name again, Bala means strength and Ram means one who gives happiness or pleasure. And Balram, Lord Balram, in many of his pastimes and Leelas, he displayed extraordinary strength. And now we will go into discussing some of his pastimes. This picture is that of Dvivida. Dvivida was a gorilla in Lord Ram's army, and he was actually a soldier and a minister in Sugriva's kingdom. Sugriva had helped Lord Ram in finding Mother Sita and fighting with the demon Ravana. In this, Dvivida was a gorilla in Sugriva's army. This Dvivida was a faithful servant of Lord Ram, and he actually composed prayers and poems and poetry in honor of Lord Ram. But he was not respectful towards Lakshman. And towards the end of the Ramayana Leela, when Lakshman was hit by the javelin and he became unconscious, that again was a Leela performed by Lakshman to enhance the parental and the brotherly mood of Lord Ram. At that time, Dvivida became even more bewildered, and he considered Lakshmana to be very ordinary and disrespected Lakshmana. And because of that offense toward Lakshman, who is again, Lord Balram, he in his next life, he became friends with the demon Bhaumasura. When Bhaumasura was killed by Krishna, Dvivida gorilla decided that I am going to take revenge. And he was huge and mighty, he had the power of 50,000 elephants. What he would do is he would go into the ocean, and with his arms and mighty arms and legs, he would cause huge tides and waves. And all the neighboring towns and the villages and the areas would get flooded. He would go and contaminate the areas where the sages would be performing yagna with urine and pus and stool and everything. He would go and throw animals and dead bodies and make the area completely useless for any kind of prayer or worship or yagna. He would violate the chastity of women and unmarried girls. And one time, Lord Balram, he was having a leela or a pastime with his concerts in a place close to Dwarka. And this Dvivida, he happened to pass by and he noticed Lord Balram and his concerts having a pastime, having a nice time. So he went there and started making this really obnoxious sound, khila, 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 like how gorillas and monkeys, they do, for a lack of a better word, ridiculous stuff. So he started jumping from one tree to another, from one branch to another, trying to attract the attention of the gopis and the queens that Lord Balram was having the pastime with. Lord Balram that time had Varuni, and he was the intoxicated is not the nice word, but he had taken Varuni, which is a heavenly beverage, and it causes an effect which is the transcendental or the spiritual equivalent of intoxication. So it's not intoxication, but it causes a nice effect. And these concerts of Lord Balram, because they are very innocent girls, they are not like sharp city girls or anything. When they noticed Dvivida doing this, they just laughed. And taking that as an encouragement, they smiled or laughed just out of innocence. He approached them and started showing, his, the rear side of his body, and he started acting really funny and bending in front of them. And now this was not being appreciated by Lord Balram at all. So when he started crossing his limits and started approaching these gopis, that time Lord Balram came and stopped him. So Dvivida, in anger, he picked up a rock from there and he threw it at Lord Balram. So Lord Balram, he has a club, with his club he broke the rock into, like, literally into powder. It didn't even break into pieces. The rock was powdered. So Dvivida, he was again also very strong, strength of 50,000 elephants. So he wasn't going to give up that easy. He picked up more rocks and he threw them at Lord Balram. And Lord Balram with his club powdered the next rock also. So this happened till Dvivida ran out of every single rock in that area. It was a mountainous region. Then he started picking up, uprooting oak trees from that area, and he started throwing them at Lord Balram. And Lord Balram, was just smashing those trees also. And I was listening to a lecture by my Guru Maharaj, and he said that Lord Balram is the original spiritual master or the Adi Guru, and this pastime is the Adi cricket and the Adi baseball Leela. This is the original cricket and the original baseball game. So, Dvivida, he was uprooting all the oak trees and flinging them at Lord Balram, and those were also smashed into pieces. And then finally Lord Balram decided to get on the case of Dvivida, like, enough is enough. So Lord Balram went forward and he struck Dvivida on his collarbone, and he vomited blood and he fell on the ground dead. Haribo. So this again, the cool thing about Lord Balram's pastimes is that you don't see him like stressing and a lot of strenuous work and sweating and this and that. Like just one strike and the business is over. So he was kind of playing, he was having a cricket match, right? Imagine somebody is throwing ball and at every ball you are putting a sixer. And for those playing baseball, imagine it's a baseball match and you're doing a home run on every single strike. So it's a nice play time, right? But then when all the balls are out, what do? Like, and then it's time to go home also, right? So you just go forward, give a little strike, and it's done. So that's what Lord Balram is. He gives pleasure to his devotees by displaying extraordinary strength and prowess. This is the killing of Dvivida demon. So when I had started the discussion, I had mentioned that one who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not take birth again, but returns to my eternal abode. So the transcendental message behind this pastime is that sometimes we give respect to the deities and to the Lord, but we don't treat Lord's devotees and servants very nicely, and that's not appreciated by the Lord at all. He says that you can please me, better than feeding me is to prepare bhoga in ghee, offer it and then feed it into the mouth, feed it to my devotees, and I will taste it through their mouth. That's Krishna's instruction. You can make me happy by making my devotees happy. One time, somebody approached Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhaktisiddhanta asked him, "Who are you?" And this person said that I am a Vaishnava, I am a devotee of Vishnu, I am a devotee of Krishna. And Bhaktisiddhanta said, "Okay, please, have a seat, And then another person approached, and Bhaktisiddhanta asked him, "Who are you?" And he said that I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna or Vishnu. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, "Come, sit by my side. I have all the time on earth to give to you." So Lord is, we cannot please Lord by disrespecting his devotees. or disrespecting his servants. And that's the message of this pastime. Dvivida was very respectful towards Lord Ram. He was composing poetry and he fought gallantly. He was fought very nicely. He actually helped Lord Ram get back Mother Sita, but he was disrespectful towards Lakshmana. And Lord Ram did not like that. He did not appreciate that. And because of that aparadh towards Lakshmana, in his next life, he became friends with the demon, went into bad association, and lost all his spiritual credit, became a demon who was killed by Lord Balram. So if we commit Vaishnava aparadh, eventually we will land in bad association, and then we cannot perform bhakti. The A, B, C, D of devotional service is A is association. We read books, we chant, and we follow transcendental diet, the B, C, D of devotional service, because we get strength from association of devotees. So we'll go to the next pastime now. This is the deliverance of Dhenukasura. This is a Vrindavan pastime. So one time Krishna and Balram's Gopa friends, Shridama, Subala, Stoka Krishna, they could smell a very nice fragrant fruit while they were having their pastimes in Vrindavan. And the Gopa boys told Krishna that we want to go there. We are hungry and we want to eat that fruit. Now my Guru Maharaj was explaining that if the Gopa friends had told Krishna and Balram that we want to offer that fruit to you, Krishna and Balram would have said, we don't want to go. But they said that we are hungry because they knew that if we asked for something, Krishna would come. But actually they themselves did not want to enjoy the fruit. They wanted Krishna and Balram to enjoy that fruit, but they had to make themselves an excuse to take them over there. There was a forest in Vrindavan, one of the 12 forests, the Talavan, and it had tala trees, and tal trees had tal fruit, and this fruit was very fragrant. But this place was being guarded by the demon Dhenukasura, who was Kamsa's servant. And Dhenuka comes from the word donkey. It was basically a donkey demon. Lord Balram, Krishna and all the cowherd boys, they went into Talvan, and Lord Balram, again, he is Balram, he is the owner of all the strength, didn't do anything in hiding. He went in full public view, he started shaking the tal tree and all the tal fruits started coming down. Dhenukasura was outraged. Like, you walk into my garden in broad daylight and right in front of me you are shaking the trees and trying to take my fruit. I am Kamsa's servant, this is my place and this is my fruit, and how can you take my fruit without my permission? He went and he approached Lord Balram, and with his hind legs he kicked Lord Balram, and Lord Balram just stood there totally unaffected, like as if nothing had happened. Imagine if a mosquito comes and kicks me, close to 140 pounds, what is going to do? Bite is different, but if he comes and kicks me, nothing is going to happen. Dhenukasura kicked with his hind legs, and Lord Balram stood there totally unmoved. And he did it again. So Lord Balram said, they really wanted to get to the fruit business. So he was not in a very playful mood this time. So what did Lord Balram do? Lord Balram picked up Dhenukasura and started spinning him. Spinning. And Dhenukasura, who was this powerful donkey, he died out of giddiness. He became giddy and he died. So even before Lord Balram did not have to use a club, a weapon, his hand, or a blow, nothing. He just spun him around, and just being spun around, Dhenukasura vomited and he died. And then Lord Balram, after he died, he threw him on the tallest tal tree in the forest, and my Guru Maharaj said that this was Lord Balram's way of honoring him by throwing his dead body on the tallest tree in the forest. when Dhenukasura's dead body landed on that tree fell down, and as that tree was coming down, with the weight of that tree and Dhenukasura, other trees also in the line also came down crashing on the ground. And when the trees came down crashing, all the tal fruits also came down, which is what the Gopa boys had wanted. Now looking at their leader dead, all the relatives and friends of Dhenukasura, they also started coming and attacking Krishna and Balram. But then after this followed like a nice spinning match. Have you seen kids playing with the yo-yo? Like, you know. So that's what it was basically. Krishna and Balram was just kind of, you know, spinning around all the relatives of Dhenukasura like the donkey demons. And every one of them was dead. And they were kind of thrown on different trees in the Tal forest. And by now the news had reached Brajvasis and they all came. And Sukadeva Goswami actually explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, he describes the scene as very beautiful. Like donkey demons dead on trees in a forest. And the trees down. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice purport to this pastime actually. He explains that this mentality of Dhenukasura, that this is my forest, my fruit, and why should Krishna or Balram or their Gopa friends have it, is the ass mentality. That, you know, all day long, all week long, we are slogging in offices, foaming at our mouth for that paycheck, and then we don't want to share that paycheck with the Lord and His mission. We just want to keep it for ourselves. My paycheck, my job, my family, my children, my house, my car, my village, my country. So all the isms, the socialism, the, you know, are an extended family. Like, so us not graduating or not going beyond our limited circle is being like a Dhenukasura. So the transcendental message or the understanding in this pastime is that whatever fruits we have, we should share that with Krishna and his devotees. So now the fruit can be a paycheck, it is our time, it is the ability that we have. Somebody sings very nicely, somebody cooks very nicely, somebody decorates very nicely. So whatever ability we have, whatever fruits we have, whatever money, whatever we own or possess actually belongs to Krishna. So we just have to be willing to share it. So next pastime is the pastime of Roma Harshana. In Naimisharanya one time all the sages had assembled and they wanted to have a discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Now this was an assembly of sages and saints from all over the universe, and they chose a disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, Roma Harshana, to be the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Roma Harshana Sutta was selected, he sat on the Vyasasana, and when he was going to start the discussion, Lord Balram walked into that assembly. All the sages there and all the saints, as soon as they saw Lord Balram coming in, they stood up, they offered their obeisances, they offered respects to Lord Balram, because they have the understanding that Lord Balram is the original, the supreme personality of Godhead. He is not different from the Lord. They offered obeisances, but Roma Harshana Sutta, he did not get up from the Vyasasana. He just continued sitting there. And out of pride and arrogance, he was puffed up. And because of that, he did not get up, he did not offer any respects to Lord Balram. So Lord Balram wanted to, purify him. And the way Lord Balram purified him was, he picked up a kusha grass and he touched Roma Harshana with the kusha grass. And Roma Harshana died. The very first time when I heard this pastime, I was like a obeisances Priya Devi Dasi, because I was paying obeisances left, right, center. And for a long time, I was wondering, like, why, like, the people committing sinful activities, there are butchers, there are people violating the chastity of women, there are burglars, there are people stealing. Like, he did not get up from the Vyas Asana. Like, is that that big of a deal? But to be honest with you, I was a little apprehensive in asking that question. So I was like, there is something that I'm missing, but I didn't ask anybody. And I was very new to ISKCON that time. I did not ask anybody that why did Lord Balram give Romaharshana such a tough punishment for not getting up from the Vyasasana. So it was much later, when I heard a lecture by my Guru Maharaj, that the concept became clear. Romaharshana Sutta was a devotee, right? He was not breaking the regulative principles. He had a nice shikha. He was in devotee attire and Brahman thread, not committing any sinful activities. He was under association of sages and saints from all around the world, and he was speaking from Srimad Bhagavatam, and he had been unanimously elected. It was not a poll, or there's no convincing. It was not a political election. He had been unanimously elected by all the sages to be the speaker. So why is such a person being killed? And my Guru Maharaj explained that because he was puffed up, and the Lord does not want his devotee to be puffed up, and the Lord definitely does not want a devotee who is in position to be puffed up. When he is sitting at the Vyas Asana and when he is being chosen by all other sages, then he has to be an ideal acharya, which means that it's not good enough for him to just have academic knowledge. What he was missing was transcendental realized knowledge. Because when your knowledge goes beyond just being, a book knowledge or just academics, then you are not puffed up anymore. For him to be puffed up was not befitting in the position that he was in. Lord Balram did not like him being proud, and that's why he killed him. And again, Lord Balram, he gives happiness to his devotees by displaying power. He killed by kusha grass, not even a sword or a knife or an arrow or a javelin, like kusha grass. The message in this pastime is that if we want to please the Lord, again, one is to pay obeisances regularly, to not be puffed up. And especially if we are in a leadership position, or in a position where we are seen as diplomats of our mission or the movement, then the Lord will not like if we are puffed up and proud. That will not be appreciated by the Lord. And I'm going to quote my Guru Maharaj again, that sometimes we do things as devotees which are not nice, and internally we are not being nice, but externally it's my shikha has not fallen off, my kanthi mala has not fallen off, I'm speaking the right things, I'm using the right language, I'm going for the Sunday feast, I'm dancing in the kirtan, I'm singing very loudly with my hands raised. But if internally we are harboring pride, arrogance, lust, greed, envy, then it will not be appreciated by Krishna and Lord Balram. The Lord will let us continue with our folly for some time, but not for too long. Pride comes before the fall. So it's only a matter of time that we will fall down from the platform of devotional service if we are proud of anything. So that's the message from killing of Romaharshana. This is Lord Balram. He carries a plough and a club. If you remember going to the old temple, then our Baldev deity, he has a very nice club and a very nice plough on the altar. The plough is used for tilling the land, correct? If there is a dry, barren piece of land which has rocks and weeds, the farmer uses the plough to remove the weeds, to remove the pieces of stone, and he then tills the land with that plough to make it nice and soft. We cannot put the seeds, the farmer cannot put the seeds before the land has been cleared off of the stones, the weeds, and before it has been softened. Similarly, this Bhakti Laja Beej, or the seed of Bhakti, cannot grow in our heart if our heart is full of the weeds of anarthas, or if we are hard-hearted. So for Bhakti to grow in our heart, it is very important that the weeds are removed and the stones are removed. And the club is used for breaking, correct? And then so imagine there is a big boulder on the road, correct? And you are walking on that path and it's blocking your way. What will you, before you can proceed, what do you need to do? You have to break that rock and then move it on the side. The purpose of the club is to remove obstacles from the road, to remove roadblocks. So similarly, the club of Lord Balram that removes the obstacles from path of bhakti. So in that sense, Lord Balram is the original spiritual master. Through the energy of the spiritual master, Lord Balram, he removes the obstacles from path of bhakti. He clears our heart of the anarthas. He removes the weeds. He makes our heart soft, and only then the seed of bhakti, or the seed of devotion towards a Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can grow in our heart. So in that sense, Lord Balram is the original spiritual master. I don't know how, are the graphics clear? You can see. So Lord Balram, he killed, there are many other pastimes, you know, one time there was a pastime where he started dragging Hastinapur with his plough and was about to put into Ganges. There a pastime where he was about to drag Yamuna Devi with his plough. But we don't have time, it's almost like 4:50, so I'm going to start wrapping up the class. Lord Balram, when in Kali Yuga, he came as Lord Nityanand. But the mood was very different. It's the same older brother of Krishna. But while Lord Balram was displaying extraordinary strength and delivering demons and puffed up personalities, Lord Nityanand, instead of killing people with kusha grass, he holds that kusha grass in his mouth, between his teeth, and he went door to door requesting people to chant, to take Krishna's name, to chant Krishna's name. So in this yuga, in this Kali Yuga, Lord Balram came as Lord Nityanand, and there is a very beautiful pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sachi Mata, mother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she once had a dream that on her altar are the Krishna Balram deities and Nityanand, Lord Nityanand, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga. They were in the hall, and what Lord Nityanand did was he picked up the bhoga offering from the altar and he started giving it to Gaurang Mahaprabhu, and he started honoring it. And Krishna Balram deities, they stopped them. hey, this is our bhoga, you can't take it. And Lord Nityanand said that, gone are your days. This is the age of my Lord Gauranga, and this is his bhoga. And Sachi Mata woke up from this dream, and she told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about this dream, and he said that we should call Nitai home for prasadam. And Lord Gauranga, he called Nityanand Prabhu for prasadam, and he said that Sachi Mata had this dream, you come for prasadam, but you better behave yourself. And Lord Nityanand said, what are you saying? I always behave. You are the one who does not behave properly. So you don't tell me anything. You follow your own instruction. Nitai came, and Lord Nitai and Nimai, they were sitting down having prasadam, and Sachi Mata, she went into the kitchen to bring seconds, and when she came, she saw Lord Nityanand and Lord Gauranga as two little kids, one white and one black, honoring prasadam on the floor, clothed in only 4 directions, means they were wearing nothing. So Lord Nityanand and Lord Gauranga showed Mother Sachi that form, that they are Krishna and Balram. And looking at this scene, she dropped on the floor unconscious. So I shared this pastime to tell that Lord Nityanand, to again establish that Lord Nityanand is Lord Balram. But he comes with a very different mood. Instead of killing and getting on the task of people in Kali Yuga, he's giving holy name free of cost. Golokera Prema Dhana Harinam Sankirtan. Harinam, holy name, has been imported. It's an imported asset from the spiritual world. And he goes around singing, Bhaj Gorango, Gao Gorango, Gao Gorange Naam Le, Je Jana Gauranga Bhaje, Se Hai Amar Pran Re. Do we have a Bengali person in this today? Mataji, do you know the meaning of the song? Yeah. Do you want to share? Okay, I'll share. I have the mic, I'll share. That Lord Nityanand is singing in this phrase that take the name of Gauranga, chant Gauranga, and whoever does that, he is my life and soul. So with that, we will conclude the discussion on Lord Balram's appearance day today. Lord Nityanand was very merciful, very forgiving. He did not kill Jagai and Madhai, but he made Jagai and Madhai into devotees. And his mood was that if Jagai and Madhai become devotees, then the glory of my Lord will be established irrevocably all over the world. So if we have that mood that I am fallen, then we can get the mercy of Lord Nityanand or Lord Balram. And Lord Balram killed Dhenukasura, Plalambasura, Romaharshana Suta, Dvivida. The demons killed by Krishna and the demons killed by Lord Balram, they represent certain anarthas in our heart. The demons which were killed by Lord Balram represent anarthas which can be removed only by surrendering to the spiritual master. Last Sunday, Vallabhi Gopi gave a class where she established how Bhakti Yoga is the topmost yoga system, and she explained how we can move on the path of Bhakti Yoga, Tatpati Pariprashena Pariprashnena Sevaya, by surrendering to a spiritual master, inquiring submissively and rendering devotional service. We can approach our spiritual master, render service, and then Lord Balram through the spiritual master will remove the anarthas from our heart and bring us closer to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, who is our founder Acharya, he is the Shiksha Guru for all of us. We can take Diksha from different initiating gurus, but Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya for ISKCON, he is the Shiksha Guru for all of us. And he was actually in the mood of Lord Nityanand. When he came to the Western world, he was extremely forgiving. The hippies, who eventually became devotees who were hippies, He did not say, oh, you are breaking regulative principles, you are malechas, you are fallen. He was in the mood of Lord Nityananda. So we can offer our deepest regards and respect to our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada today, and pray that our spiritual master will remove the anarthas from our heart, and then our heart will become a nice clean place to welcome Lord Krishna in 2 weeks from now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We have 5-7 minutes for question answers or comments.
I'll say something. I'm just wondering why you mentioned why Balaram killed Balaram Sutta. Now, because he was puffed up. But there are other devotees who were puffed up and he didn't kill them. I think it was more than just being puffed up. I mean, Brahma was puffed up, thinking he had more mystic powers than Krishna, and took away all his cowherd boys and calves and put them in a cave, and then came back and saw they were still there, but then there were expansions of Vishnu and Ryan. And Brahma said how, someone else may say they know you, or they understand you, your power. As far as I'm concerned, I can't understand you at all. So, I mean, one thing we can see with Brahma is he did something, and then he was sorry he did it, and he realized it. Indra, the same thing. Of course, Indra did it for like 7 days. 7 days, where he's trying to kill Krishna. Seems a lot worse than just not offering obeisances.
Yeah.
He's trying to kill Krishna, trying to kill all the residents of Vrindavan, all his relatives. I mean, it's not just killing him. It's almost like a mafia. They want to kill his relatives too. We got to kill everybody, and kill all the cows. And Krishna he really didn't do anything. Just lifted Govardhan Hill, held it for 7 days, and then Indra finally realized, I really, really made a bad mistake. Brahmarasana Sutta didn't stand up, just a matter of moments. And with a piece of kusha grass, hits him it touches him in the forehead and kills him. I mean, so I don't think you really know any more than I know about why. I mean, we could just speculate. Maybe you heard something, but so there's a difference between Romaharshana Sutta and Brahma and Indra.
One difference I know is that Brahma and Indra, they both were dealing with Krishna, and this pastime as Lord Balram.
Oh, so Balaram just doesn't have the patience.
So I didn't say that, Paraprabhu.
That's the answer. I mean, it's something to think about.
Yeah, for many years I was quizzed myself, and I didn't want to ask. Like, I was scared that if I asked somebody, you don't know that to not pay obeisance is like worse than committing a sinful activity. So I didn't even ask anybody. I just kept quiet. So over the years, listening, and realized that he was puffed up, and he was in a place of position, and he was being a brahmana.
He was the leader of all these great personalities.
Yeah.
And he's setting the example. What a great man doesn't know men follow. And he's setting this really bad example by not getting up. And Prabhupada does explain that when you're sitting on the Vyasasana, you don't have to get up. But when the Supreme Lord comes in, you should get up.
Yeah.
If a person comes in, you don't have to get up if you're sitting on the Vyasasana. But if God comes, you should get up. I mean, it's just common sense. You just sit there while Krishna walks in. Balaram walks in. That's really.
Like when I was new to the movement, there were many things I didn't know. Like, so for example, when the deities come in, you're immediately expected to stand up and pay respects. At the first Rath Yatra, I didn't know that when the deities are being brought from the cart to the cart, you should chant and welcome them. So, but then again, by association, by listening to senior devotees, observing what they are doing, you learn. So Roma Harshna Sutta was the leader. Everybody else is paying obeisances, and at least he could have just folded his hands or something, like bowed on his head. Just.
Yes, anyway, it's just interesting. Because also Krishna, when there were demons who were puffed up, like Pundraka,
Pundraka, yeah.
he came out with the 4 arms saying he is the supreme. It's like, what's you put 2 fake arms and you're going to fool everybody. And so Krishna just chuckled and cut off his head. But so generally with the demons, he definitely just kills them. But with the devotees, he seems to tolerate them, except for Rama Harshna Sutta. They don't have to run the potatoes anymore.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Spiritual force.